Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl GOLDYNAPS back with another protective style tutorial, and we are happy, we are excited because I snapped. Today's video is all about these Ryan Destiny inspired Knotless Boho box braids, and I have been obsessed with them ever since I saw them on her. Before we get into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see more content like this from me. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so at this point I've done the majority of my braids. I just have 3 left, which I'm gonna use to demonstrate the technique. As usual, I'm gonna kick off this tutorial with tips, tricks, hair details, etc. If you wanna skip directly to the braiding technique, there will be time codes below. But if it is your first time doing this protective style, doing a protective style on your own, then I definitely recommend you watch this part. So to do this style, you're gonna need your braiding hair, obviously. I'm using 613 and 27 braiding hair from X Trend, which if you watched any of my other protective style videos, it's really the only braiding hair that I use and I really love it. It's super soft and easy to use. And the other thing that you're gonna need is a bundle of Brazilian Body Wave 613 human hair. The human hair that I have is honestly just a bundle that I had laying around. It's from Nadula Hair and it's 16-inch Brazilian Body Wave. Honestly, it's a little pricey to be using on a protective style, but it's really good quality. Nadula does tend to have sales, but that said, you could probably find something more affordable in the beauty supply store, especially if you don't need blonde hair. The last time that I did knotless box braids, over time my natural hair started poking out of the braid within a week, which was kind of annoying and made them look a little sloppy. I noticed that the parts that I made last time were a little big for the size of the braid that I was going for. So to kind of counteract that, this time I did much smaller parts and slightly smaller braids because I just don't want them to look messy after a couple of weeks. Last time I did these knotless braids, I had 55, and this time I have about 90. But I didn't use much more hair to do this style, so they're still really lightweight and comfortable. I think last time I used 4.5 packs of 27 hair, and this time I've used about 5 packs of hair. I did 3 of 613 and 2 of 27, and then obviously I have little bits of the human hair that I have fed in. Obviously, having way more braids means spending way more time on the style. I spent a whole day parting, and then I've split the braiding up over 2 days, and I've obviously taken a bunch of breaks over the 3 days that I've been doing this style. But if I had to estimate a total amount of time, I would say 14 to 15 hours on braiding. It's definitely the longest that I've spent doing a protective style, but the beauty of doing your hair yourself is you can take as many breaks as you want to go eat, to go run an errand. Literally, if I have to do something, I will just throw a scarf over the top of my unfinished hair and do whatever I need to do. And also, I feel this has taken a lot of time because as usual, it's my first time doing the style, so I kind of had to figure out the technique, figure out what worked best for my hair and the look that I was going for. So there was a lot of trial and error. So that kind of adds up to all the time that I've spent doing this. All right, so now that we've covered all those details, let's get into the actual braiding technique. I will show it 3 different times and go over some tips and things to keep in mind while you are doing this. It's really basically the same thing as the knotless braiding technique, but you do have to feed in those little bits of human hair. So I'm gonna bring you guys in a little closer just so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so now that you're all up on my face, we're gonna get started by taking out our first section. And if you're curious, I did blow out my hair beforehand to part, and when I was parting, I just twisted up each section as I was parting just to keep it out of the way, keep it flat, and also give me an idea of how many braids that I was gonna have to do. First thing we're gonna do is just put some Shine and Jam at the root of our part, as always. And then we're gonna split our section in 3 and start braiding. Now we're gonna feed in our first piece of hair. For this style, I have been starting with a 27 piece of hair. I start with 27 and I end my feed-in process with 2 6/13s, and in the middle I kind of just been alternating, but always start with 27 and end with 6/13. That's been giving the best blend for me. Okay, first piece of 27 fed in. Going in with my second piece. Now feeding in a 6/13. $27. And then my last 2 6/13s. So basically each section I am feeding in 6 pieces of hair to get the thickness that I want. And of those 6 pieces of hair, it's 3 27s, 3 6/13s. And then you're just going to keep braiding until you determine that you're at a spot where you want to feed in a piece of human hair. What I kind of do is just look at the other braids that I've done, and if I see like, oh, this area is a little blank, it doesn't have a lot of human hair sticking out, then I'm like, all right, let me feed one in to fill up that blank spot. Okay, so I feel like about here is a good spot to be feeding it in. I'm taking a little piece of human hair, which is about the same size as the sections of braiding hair that I'm feeding in. And when you feed it in, don't take it from the middle, take it from like closer to the end, enough to where when you're braiding, you can keep the hair like latched in, because obviously you don't want the human hair slipping out, but you want like enough of the human hair dangling out to like be able to see it and it be visible. But I mean, it's up to you how long you want those human hair bits to be. So you're gonna feed it in the same way that you're feeding in your braiding hair. And depending on which direction you want your human hair to be sticking, that's when you decide you're gonna lift it out. So if I want my human hair to be sticking towards the back right now, so I just lift it out, flip it up to keep it out of my way, and then just keep braiding as usual. Okay, so now I'm at a point where I feel like I can add in an additional piece of human hair, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Doing the same thing. This time, however, I want the piece of hair to be facing the front, so I'm gonna keep it out, facing the front. Either like flip it up, you can crocodile clip it up, you can put it in your mouth, whatever you wanna do to just keep this piece of hair out of the way because you want it sticking out. And now you're just gonna finish your braid. You basically have the liberty of deciding how many pieces of human hair you want sticking out of your braid. For the braids like that are visible at the like top section of my hair, I've been feeding in 3 pieces. When it was closer to like the lower layer of my hair, I was only feeding in 1 piece because you can't really see those. So I was like, why am I gonna waste time feeding in all this hair? So really the most visible pieces have the most pieces of human hair sticking out. Also that speeds up the process because feeding in the human hair is really the most time consuming since you have to keep making sure that it's not getting caught in your braid. But that's kind of my way of determining how many pieces to feed in. Closer to the area of visibility, feed in more pieces. If it's not, just feed in 1 or 2. Okay, and here's the braid that we just completed, which has 3 pieces of human hair sticking out. They like do not move at all. If you feed them in correctly, like they will be very secure, very sturdy. So now I'm gonna show you guys the technique one more time, a little bit closer up so you can see what I'm doing. If you're not familiar with how to feed in hair and the knotless braiding technique, I do have an extremely detailed video about it, so definitely go check that out if you want to get more comfortable with feeding in braiding hair and feeding in hair in general. Okay, you guys, so this is the finished look. All I did after I finished braiding was trim all of the ends of my braids so that they were all evenly at butt length, and I also dipped them in hot water to seal the ends of my hair. And also, like, I have some human hair pieces at the ends of my braids and they were not affected by dipping them in hot water at all, if that was a concern of yours. I also got my setting mousse, which is the Love Lotta Body Wrap Me foaming mousse, which I really love. Love how it smells, love how it works, and that just like gets rid of any frizz, flyaways, etc. I am obsessed with how this look turned out. Like, it looks phenomenal. It's like near perfection. There's like no glaring flaws. It literally looks like I went and got my braids done, not like me, an amateur, sitting here for 15 hours braiding my hair. But I'm so excited about these. So I hope that the tutorial was helpful for you guys and that it encourages you to go out and do your braids on your own. That's always like the goal for me with these videos, is to get you guys to like try it yourselves. So I hope that this video was helpful and that you enjoyed it, and that I will catch you in the next one. Bye.